When someone dies, lives are touched and memories ignite. Things come to mind that's not been thought of for a long time. We hold memories of family and friends, and they have memories of us. Truly, we're becoming someone else's memory. May we learn to give unconditional love and support and not be hasty in judgments of what someone else may have done, and need to listen and react patiently. Death is not passed from our experience, and as long as we remain on earth, it will not. God tells us the living know that they shall die. Ecclesiastes 9. We at times try to find ways to keep death out of our consciousness, but its reality remains. Death may walk rudely into our lives uninvited. Death breaks that brittle strain of life that we try to hold on to. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Death may rear its head to rob us without warning. Sometimes we may see death coming from a distance, and we know that no act of heroism or personal strength is going to save one is coming to claim. At these moments we feel this cold touch. Again, we understand that the thread of life that holds us to this earth existence is weak and fragile. Life can snap or break in an instant. Death's approach are many, and its aim is one: victory over earthly life. His battering ram is too much for any defense. There's no wall or army to stop the invasion and advancements. This earthly house, a tent, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, is not built to last forever. There are continued storms to face, and we must remember this life is set up for a temporary purpose. No one has a guarantee, at least on life or physical life. The promise of earth was a certain number of days. When the storm strikes, there are many warnings are given, but not taken seriously. We feel helpless and hopeless. May we remember that the storm of life will not last forever. It's been said, we're either in a storm, coming out of a storm, or headed toward one. As the weather of life changes, the inevitable and unavoidable, there's no guarantee of smooth, carefree journey. There's one that can calm the storms we thought would destroy us. Mark chapter 4. Do we have the anchor that will remain strong and secure when life's storms hit? Hebrews chapter 6. People react in different ways to the pressures of life and the problems faced. Sometimes thinking may be temporarily restricted and completely irrational. Those closest to them may not even know the turmoil inside. They may be deeply hurting, but we think all is okay. But do they believe they must remain strong for others? Could they feel the uselessness, the unneeded, and the unloved? Feelings aren't always fact, so constant vigilance is needed. There's often the pull of the past, the mounting expectations of the present, and the stress and problems regarding the future. It is believed one is unable to get out of the area of arena of trouble in which we live. What about suffering, sorrows, problems, and pressures? Is there strength to handle the immediate and the future? God always knows the mind and heart perfectly. He's referred to as the knower of the hearts, Acts chapter 1 and Romans chapter 8. I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about the choices of life. In Genesis chapter 2, in the days of creation, on the sixth day, God created man in his own image and gave him dominion over all. In Genesis chapter 3, the serpent was more crafty than any other animal or wild animal that God had made. The serpent tempted Eve into eating of the forbidden tree in the middle of the garden. Eve made a bad choice. She yielded to temptation, sin. She had a choice. That's the first sin recorded in the Bible. In Genesis chapter 4, Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel. Abel kept flocks, and Cain worked the soil. In the time, Cain brought some fruit of the soil and an offering to the Lord, and Abel brought the first portion of fats from the lamb. The Lord looked with favor on Abel's offering, but This anger came, and out of that anger, he killed his brother. A bad choice. The first murder recorded in the Bible. In Leviticus chapter 10, it talks about Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron. They offered unauthorized fire on the altar before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came from the presence of the Lord and consumed them. They made a bad choice. They didn't have to, but they did. In Matthew chapter 10, it talks about Judas who betrayed Christ. What a good choice. In 2 Samuel chapter 11, it talks about the sin between David and Bathsheba. David turned a bad choice into a good one. And family and friends, we can turn situations that are unpleasant into good circumstances. In Joshua chapter 24, Joshua chose to serve the Lord with all his house, a good choice. And on through the whole Bible is full of bad and good choices. Yes, you and I make choices every day, some choices of life. The job we choose, where we live, who we marry, what we believe in. Some choices are made, are important, and others will and should last a lifetime. Everybody experiences crises that call for special strength, comforting, and courage. At such times, a hand on the shoulder, a hug of understanding words of encouragement, a faithful, reminding prayer, and wise advice is priceless. Discouraged, disappointed, and depressed, disillusioned people that cross our path today. Let's work hard to be a strength to them. Have they done so for us? 2 Corinthians chapter 1. There's one who gives comfort, words and sincere compliments really do help. In the choices of time, talking about Governor Felix, Paul was speaking to him, and the governor says to him, "That's enough now. I don't want to hear anymore. You may leave. When I find a more convenient time, I will send for you." We often hear people say, "When I find time, I haven't got time." May we realize the importance of making time for the Lord. Many times each of us has stood at the gravesites of family and friends. We took time to come to the funeral. We need to take the time to share Jesus. And all of us need to have the time for Jesus in our lives. The time is coming when we'll understand how time should have been used. Not only does time pass, we'll pass it with time. We need to take time for the Lord. He took time for us. Time is temporary. You can't take this afternoon and use it tomorrow. Time will catch up with each of us. We need to be prepared. Time is precious. It need not to be wasted. The time is coming when all in the grave will hear his voice and come out of the grave. John chapter 5. We need to take time to live. No, the time is coming, we shall die. And time for the one who will lovingly die for us. Life can be ours beyond the grave. It's time to commit our loved one to the earth, knowing will come when the body and the spirit will be reunited. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. This is a hard time in our lives, but knowing Jesus gives hope. Perhaps the greatest clown of all times once said, "When millions are laughing at the clown, they may be crying inside. Remember, every clown cries." It's currently stated, the wounds that bleed inwardly are the most dangerous. Stories told of an older couple, and he had passed away. And they had a neat little home, manicured yards, and things were just really, really beautiful. But as the passing of her husband, the drapes were pulled, the lawn had grown up, newspapers was in the driveway, and the car had been out of the garage. The neighbor next door had a little 5 or 6 year old girl, and she kept asking, "Can I go see her?" And the mother said, "No, you can't go see her. She's hurting." So the little child kept insisting, and finally the mother says, "You know, we have nothing to lose, go ahead." The next day or so, the lady was out and picking up the newspapers and washing the sidewalks and cleaning things up. And the mother said to the little girl, says, "What did you say to her?" And the little girl said, "Oh, Mommy, I didn't say anything. I just clung upon her lap and cried with her.
Hello, my name is Megan. I was Lori's niece, and Lori's niece. I don't have a lot of things to say, but I'd like to sing a song for her and in her memory. So I hope it brings you a little bit of comfort as it did me. Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. Need some distraction, oh beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty, oh weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight. In the arms of the angels, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. So tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back. The storm keeps on twisting, keep on building the lies that you make up for all that you lack. Don't make no difference, escaping one last time. It's easier to believe in this sweet madness, oh, this glorious sadness brings me to my knees. In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. You're in the arms